We're moving into Chapter 8 now. Now, Chapter 8 in your textbook isn't a terribly long chapter. But what they do in Chapter 8 is they do a little of this, a little of that, and a little of this, a little of everything, and not a lot of anything very well. So that's my job, is to fix that in lecture. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Chapter 8, which isn't a really long chapter, and we're going to expand it. Also, Chapter 8 does not deal with the Michigan prison system, because textbooks, as you know, are kind of one size fits all. And so there isn't any mention made of the Michigan prison system, so that's where I come in again. So we're going to start talking about the Michigan Department of Corrections prison system today. Sound good? Yep. First, let's begin by defining a prison. Defining a prison. We're going to define a prison as a state or federal correctional institution housing convicted felons for more than a year. A state or federal correctional institution housing convicted felons for more than a year. No pretrial detainees, no misdemeanors, and no people who have not been convicted and sentenced, right? It is run by a state or federal government. It holds convicted felons only, and same-sex facilities. So we have men's prisons or we have women's prisons. We're not going to mix and match. Then you have prison babies, and that's not good. Let's turn now to the issue of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in this case refers to who owns and operates what correctional facility. Now we know counties own and operate county jails. We're talking about prisons. So at the state level, in Michigan specifically, all state prisons are owned and operated by the Michigan Department of Corrections. So we're going to call them MDOC from now on. To get into a state of Michigan prison, you violate state law. Then at the federal level, we have the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The Federal Bureau of Prisons owns and operates all federal prisons, which are scattered all over the United States. And for a person to be incarcerated in a federal prison, they would break federal law. We have one federal prison located on Michigan soil. The state of Michigan, our Department of Corrections, has nothing whatsoever to do with it. It is owned and operated by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Anybody know where it is? Yes, ma'am. Very good. Milan, yeah. Milan Federal Correctional Facility down by Ypsilanti. The feds own that one. We don't have anything to do with it. It just happens to be in the state of Michigan as opposed to someplace else, right? Does that make sense? So we're going to focus on Michigan Department of Corrections.